What's going on, guys? Parker here, and I am back with another video. And today I got my top 5 NBA Prize Picks player props for the day. And before we get into this video, do me a favor and subscribe to the channel down below and give this video a big thumbs up because we are on the road to 5,000 subscribers, guys. And each one of you subscribing, each one of you guys liking my videos really means a lot and really helps this channel out a ton. And it takes literally a second to do both of those things. So go ahead, do both of those things right now. And if you want to leave a comment down below, do that as well because I love reading your guys' comments every single day. And also, guys, before we get into this video, the NBA is back. The NBA is back, guys. I am so excited for this because college basketball just doesn't cut it for me. I love college basketball, don't get me wrong, but I like it as, it just doesn't do it for me till March Madness. Like, I enjoy college basketball a lot, but there's nothing like the NBA, guys. I love the NBA so much, so I am so excited for the NBA to be back. So excited to bet on these player props. And, yeah, guys, I'm just hyped for today. But before we get into this as well, I wanted to talk about Sleeper Fantasy because Sleeper has 2 free squares for you guys tonight. They have a free Stephen Curry square and a free LeBron James square for new users. You can get access to both of these squares. You can play both of these squares in different parlays by using code FF23 on Sleeper. That's code FF23, and the link to sign up to Sleeper will be down below in the description. So make sure to do that. Make sure to use code FF23. And yeah, guys, Sleeper also will match your first deposit up to $500. $500 in free cash if you deposit 500. Otherwise, they'll just match exactly how much you put in. And most of these apps just match it up to 100. So $500 deposit match is crazy. So you want to make sure you take advantage of that. And without further ado, let's get right into today's plays. So first off, I got Kevin Durant over 26.5 points versus the Mavericks. Durant's over this line in 3 of his last 5 games. He's averaging 27.5 points per game on the road this season. And the Mavericks allow the 6th most points per game in the NBA to point power forward. Sorry. This is an ideal matchup for Kevin Durant. This is a matchup he should be able to take advantage of. This is a matchup he should be able to dominate. And overall, I think this is a matchup that Kevin Durant does dominate. I think this is a matchup where Kevin Durant gets busy. He gets busy early and often, has a really good shooting performance, and overall just has a really nice performance. I know he's under this line in his 2 games versus the Mavs already this year, but I just think those were weird circumstance games. He only took 10 shots in one of the games. Bradley Beal is fully healthy. This Suns team is fully healthy and ready to reload for the second half of the season. I think this is a game where Durant goes off. So Kevin Durant over 26.5 points versus the Mavs is my first play of the day. Next up, I got Tyrese Halliburton over 32.5 points plus assists versus the Pistons. So the Pistons allow the 2nd most points per game in the NBA to point guards this season. Pistons allow the 11th most assists per game in the NBA to point guards this season. The minutes restriction has been lifted for Halliburton. He is back to his normal minutes per game. You're going to see Tyrese Halliburton playing heavy minutes once again. And he's over this line in 2 of his 3 games since back to playing his normal minutes. I think this is a game where Halliburton performs really well. I think this is a game where Halliburton has a really big night overall, and I think this is a great spot for Halliburton to dominate. He's playing against the worst team in the NBA, the worst defensive team in the NBA, and overall, this is a game Tyrese Halliburton should play huge in. I love this line tonight, so Tyrese Halliburton over 32.5 points plus assists is my second play of the day. Next up, I got Luka Donic over 31.5 points versus the Suns. So Doncic is over this line in both games versus the Suns this season with 50 and 34 points. He's over this line in 9 of his last 13 games. The Suns allow the 2nd most points per game in the NBA to point guards this season. Kyrie being back helps Luka out a ton. The Suns will now have to focus on Kyrie as well. Yes, Kyrie didn't play in those first 2 games versus the Suns, but this line is lowered. Luke is averaging almost 35 points a game this season. He gets a matchup tonight with Kyrie back, and I think that honestly helps his scoring because I think Kyrie will get a lot of the defensive load as well. They're going to be targeting Kyrie as well, and that will just lead to more open shots for Luka. So Luka Doncic over 31.5 points versus the Suns is my third play of the day. Next up, I got Jaylen Brunson over 36.5 points plus assists versus the 76ers. There's still no Julius Randle or OG Anunoby for the Knicks. Jaylen Brunson will have the ball in his hands pretty much the entire game. 76ers allow the second most points per game in the NBA to point guards over the last month. The 76ers have allowed the third most assists per game to point guards over the last month as well. And Brunson has had such a high usage as of late. Pure volume should be able to cover this line. I think Brunson covers this line just strictly off of volume because I think he's going to shoot 25 plus times in this matchup. And if he shoots 25 plus times, he's going to cover this line. Also, in terms of assists, like I said, the 76ers have allowed the third most assists per game to point guards over the last month. And Brunson will have the ball in his hands all game. So he's going to have plenty of opportunities to kick out to shooters, plenty of opportunities to hit, Hartenstein or Precious Achiuwa on lob, stuff like that. And overall, I just think this is a game where Jaylen Brunson dominates. So Jaylen Brunson over 36.5 points plus assists versus the Sixers is my fourth play of the day. Next up for my fifth and final play, I got Jaylen Brown over 23.5 points plus assists versus the Bulls. So Brown's over this line with 30 points and 6 assists in his first matchup versus the Bulls this season. So he absolutely soared over this line in that matchup. The Bulls have allowed the sixth most points per game in the NBA to small forwards over the last month. The Bulls have allowed the fourth most assists per game in the NBA to small forwards over the last month as well. Brown is under this line in 5 straight games. Brown has been struggling, and this is a perfect matchup for Brown to perform much better and get back on track. I think this is a spot where Jaylen Brown does get back on track. I think Jaylen Brown performs huge in this matchup. I think he has a really good game. And overall, I'm really confident that Jaylen Brown can perform well, can have a huge night, and can have a really efficient night scoring. So Jaylen Brown, over 23.5 points plus assists versus the Bulls is my fifth and final play. So those were my top 5 NBA PrizePicks player props for the day. Like I said, if you enjoyed this video and you do want to see more content from me, go ahead and subscribe to the channel down below, as well as giving this video a big thumbs up and leaving a comment on this video down below, because all of those things really help me out a ton and help push my content out to more and more people, guys. So I really would appreciate it. And like I said, it takes 2 seconds to do both of those things. So go ahead and support your boy for doing all this content for you. Also, make sure to sign up for Sleeper Fantasy today. Get free access to this LeBron James free square and this Stephen Curry free square. And make sure to use code FF23 with the link down below in the description to get an 100% deposit match up to $500. Sleeper brings the heat. Sleeper brings the best value every single day of all of the DFS apps. So make sure to take advantage of that. And without further ado, guys, let's get a streak going. Let's have a big winning night. And without further ado, I will see you all in the next one.